Artificial intelligence is something that is coming up more and more, both in conversation and use. As it becomes more prevalent, the question of do we use it comes up. And more importantly, does artificial intelligence belong at Warner Bros? Should we use it? In this presentation, we will go over 5 questions. How do you approach the topic of AI? Do you use AI? Do you replace certain jobs with AI? What are the costs and benefits? And finally, how do you handle various stakeholders? However, before answering these 5 topics, we need to dive into the core of artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? We see it talked about and used more and more as the years progress, but let's look at what it is a little before we get into how we should approach it here at Warner Bros. IBM defines artificial intelligence, or AI for short, as technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human learning, comprehension, problem solving, decision making, creativity, and autonomy. In today's society, we see AI used a lot for enhancing images and videos. We also see it used when Gen Zers are doing homework, whether they use it to write the homework or just to help them come up with ideas. We even see AI being used in the troubling world of deepfakes, which, if you don't know what that is, it is realistic looking images, video, or audio that are enhanced using artificial intelligence. Past what society sees AI as and what the general public uses it for, in the business world, we see AI being used to help separate, sort, and process lots of data in a quick amount of time. One of the overarching themes we will cover in this presentation is how can we use AI in the movie and video game world, and should we use it? The first question we should discuss is how do we approach the topic of AI? The first thing we should do is talk about some ethics or ethical concerns of artificial intelligence. The ethics can be seen in the PESTEL framework's social and legal aspects, in the VRIO analysis, and how the level of the public sees a company in regard to their ethical relevance, and how ethics can influence Porter's 5 forces. It is something that is constant and should be consistently talked about when we use anything enhanced or artificially done. Last April, there was a true crime documentary that came out on Netflix entitled What Jennifer Did. It was about a 24-year-old Canadian woman allegedly plotting to kill both of her parents in a murder-for-hire scheme. Now, you may be wondering why I'm bringing this up. Why bring up a true crime documentary when we are talking about artificial intelligence? Well, in the film, there were a couple of different photos that were under fire after it was released due to the questionable nature of them, one of which was in the promotional post for the film. People noticed irregularities in the photos, including the look of the hands, the height of the stuff in the background, her teeth, and so on, that have given off the impression of being AI generated. It should be noted that Netflix has not commented on the controversy, and producers of the film have denied the use of AI in photos, saying they are real and not altered. I personally am not well versed in telling AI from actual, so I'm just relaying what others are saying. In the movie world, having AI generated content is a hard subject to broach. When it comes to things like documentaries, using AI can cut underhand and undermine the credibility of the film, making people wonder how much of it is true and how much of it is doctored. And in the film industry, credibility can equate to a lot, especially if you top other negative publicity on top of it. For example, Warner Bros. Is currently seeing some negativity surrounding their Minecraft movie, slated to come out in April, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. If they were to be questioned about AI use, especially in a documentary that they produce, it could be cause for concern for their stakeholders. The second thing we should talk about is how AI is not going away. Instead of trying to brush it off, we need to figure out how to work with it and incorporate it in the correct areas. Again, I repeat, in the correct areas. When we look at the political and legal aspects of the PESTEL analysis, we find that each country and government has different policies and or regulations when it comes to AI use. In the US, in the past year, we have seen more bills come across the different levels of government. For example, according to the National Conference of State Legislators considered over 150 bills regarding the government use of AI in 2024, and at least 30 states have issued guidance on the state agency use of AI. Meanwhile, the European Union has General Data Protection Regulations, GDPR, set in place on AI in regard to how they process data and respect the rights of individuals. I have attached the link to the study of the European Parliamentary Research Service put out if you would like a light 100-page reading. While both of these do not necessarily involve the film and video game industries, it is always smart to know what the landscape is like, especially if you are filming at locations. But the main reason I wanted to put these 2 bullet points is to show that the field of AI is constantly evolving. New bills are being brought through the government, and different regulations are being implemented. As a company, Warner Bros. Needs to figure out if, where, and what to use AI for, and the first step is to understand the landscape that we are in now. The second overall question we should be asking is, do we use AI? Should we use AI? 2023, the Writers Guild of America, WGA, went on strike for what lasted almost 5 months. The strike was about numerous things, including the potential impact artificial intelligence has on the industry. In the months following the strike, the WGA started publishing and stating the extent of the October agreement on their website, including a Know Your Rights section on AI. In it, it talks about the minimum basic agreement the Guild came to in the new contract, in which it states the new MBA will give writers more protection from AI. For example, any material produced by AI would be considered a literary material. The rise of AI, especially with how quickly it has started to grow in the past couple of years, has created a threat of substitution so big the WGA had to do something about it or risk losing their jobs. It could be seen as another threat and one that can preemptively be removed compared to the other forms of substitution like reality TV and content creators on social media platforms. How does this affect Warner Bros? This means that if using AI was a thought beforehand, it can now not be used for things such as writing, SFX, CGI, and so on. If we were to use AI, it would be more towards the post-production side of things, such as helping with marketing. Not taking the place of someone in marketing, but aiding in what they are doing. We have to be careful about where and how we use it. AI is a very touchy subject overall, and it could very easily turn from a helpful, potentially time and cost-saving technique into heavy backlash and negativity. A slogan I have come up with is AI is for aiding, not taking over. While it might not be the most catchy of phrases, it does do the trick. Using it for data processing is one thing, since the data is already there and the AI is just being used to sort stuff. But in this industry, when using it, it is more for creating new things and therefore should not be used solely, but with the help of other things. The third big question we should ask is, do we replace any jobs with AI? Now, a lot of what I'm going to say in this slide can be used in the slide before and vice versa. Just like the 2 questions are closely related, so are the answers. So just keep that in mind as we answer this question. It is about copying. Usually when you do a VRIO analysis, it is about how unique is your product. Is it easy to copy? However, I want to take a slightly different approach to it with AI. AI is a system that uses pre-made things and alters them to the whim of whoever is using it. It is quick to use and easy to imitate. This means anyone can use it. Replacing people's jobs with AI is hard to do because some of the legal ramifications that are associated with it. There have been numerous legal and court cases involving AI, plagiarism, and copyright. For example, earlier this year, Thomson Reuters won a court battle over fair use in copyright due to Ross Intelligence using material from his platform to train Ross's AI models without permission. In the creative world, we see numerous cases of music being copied, accused of using AI music, authors getting plagiarized, and so on. It can be used so easily and freely, but it can also be wrapped up in legal battles just as easily. Before using and pushing out to the public, the work needs to be checked to make sure there are no potential copyright issues, plagiarism issues, and nothing looks out of the ordinary. In classes that use AI, they always say to double check the work. AI can be used to assist in what is being looked up and done, but should not be used solely on its own. And that should be the case when using it in the movie and video game industry. The next question we need to ask is, What are the costs and benefits of using AI? For the most part, what is talked about in this section will be based off of the economic factors of the pestle analysis. I don't know why, but this is one of the sections I was most looking forward to talking about. From the outside, using AI seems like a cost-effective solution, but when you look deeper, it paints a very different photo. Let's look at a cost-effective piece everyone hears about. According to a report by McKinsey's The State of AI in 2022 and a half decade in review, they found over 28% of respondents in marketing and sales found a decrease in costs, and over 70% of respondents found an increase in revenue in 2021. AI has found a way to create a bigger divide between cost and revenue, creating a more efficient organization, and in the case of Warner Bros., can help since marketing plays a huge part in both movies and video games. Let's look at a Minecraft movie, for example. The movie comes out in April, and there are rumors of them having a budget of 200 million with about 75 million towards marketing. If Warner Bros. Were to use AI, they could potentially cut down on the costs, which would be especially helpful right now since the overall reception of the movie has been more negative than positive with the size of the budget, which I alluded to in a previous slide. Now we know they cannot do anything in regard to the writing, effects, and so on due to the new agreement, but I believe they could use it when doing marketing and help with the planning and implementation of it. AI is great for coming up with ideas, helping sort data, and narrow down different things. Imagine how much could be saved from using AI to come up with different marketing tactics, figure out who to market towards, and sort the data from study groups that may have been used. Now that we have looked at the positive factors, let's dive into the negative ones. According to an article published in 2023 by Scientific America, they stated the AI boom could use at least 85.4 terawatt hours of electricity annually, which is more than what some small countries use in a year. While AI for Warner Bros. Would not equate to owning a small country, it would take electricity, a good amount depending on how much it is used, and that is not something we would normally think about. Now, electricity use may not be a big deal in the movie industry if we were just using it for marketing, since we would not necessarily need a whole system. We could use a basic system such as ChatGPT or some similar program to come up with ideas compared to some businesses who may use it full time. But AI as a whole needs to use a lot of electricity to cover the systems needed to process data. When we dive into investing and using AI, we also need to think about the training it takes, the cost of taking care of it. We usually think about clicking some buttons, typing on some keys, and some ideas pop out. But the reality is AI systems also require maintenance, cooling, and getting a system up and running. While Warner Bros. May not have their own system on campus, they still need to think about the cost incurred when subscribing to a program. Subscribing to a program will cost money. Depending on the level used, it can cost more for some more advanced programs. The storage and maintenance of what is generated is another cost. Training people to use, work, and run it, and so on. Depending on the level of programming you want to use, it could cost upwards of millions of dollars. Now, Warner Bros. Would not be using it to the extent of millions, or at least I would assume, but they would need to pay a pretty penny to use it. Some say the average price of basic AI could be up to $5,000 per month. You can find out more of the information of the general breakdown of the cost here. The final question we will address is the question, how do you handle various stakeholders? Communication is key. The first step is to understand we need to be transparent, communicate, and inform all the different groups. While there are a lot of different groups to talk to in stakeholders, there are 5 groups that I'm going to explicitly single out. With the top, aka the executives and leadership team, we need to make sure that we are clearly stating what we are doing, have clear business objectives, show reports, forecast, feasibility studies, and show ons. The concerns need to be addressed, and there should be a contingency plan in place. Next, we have employees and various teams. The first thing we need to do is make sure they know we are not replacing any jobs with AI. They may be using AI to enhance what they are doing, but no jobs will be taken and replaced with it. The next thing we need to do is let them know that certain teams and employees will start to learn AI and how to work with it. As we continue the idea of communication, they should know that they can and should communicate their feedback on it as they use it more and more. Their opinions matter. I would argue that their opinion matters more than the top because they are the ones that are working with the system daily. The third group we have is the investors and shareholders. These people need to know what AI is being used for and exactly how it will work with the budget. How will it affect the cost benefit analysis? Is there anything to worry about risk wise? Addressing investors and shareholders is about ensuring that it is worth the investment. The fourth group involves the legal team. What is their life going to look like? How will it affect them? The best way to do this is to show how the company is in compliance with the different regulations, keeping up to date on the changing landscape, and explain how we are going to try to mitigate any lawsuits that may happen. Anytime anything is published using AI, it should go through legal to make sure that they are preparing for anything, if anything were to come up, and just to make sure everything follows. The last group is the public and media. The main key is to be transparent and to be in compliance, ethically speaking. Yes, we are using AI, but not in the movies and not in the way you think. It is very little. That is the type of conversation we want to convey to them. I know that was a lot of information, so let's do a quick recap. AI is a hot topic, as we've seen both when scrolling through social media and presented in this presentation. In the beginning, we had 5 areas to talk about. The first question was, how do you approach this topic? Now, we need to learn how to understand what AI is and how to best use it. The truth is, AI is staying around for the long run, and we better learn about it and how to use it now rather than later when it is everything and we are behind the curve. The second question we addressed is, do we use AI? We can use it, but it should only be used in certain instances and not on its own. Using it on its own is a quick way to get in an ethical battle with the public. The third question we addressed was, do you replace certain jobs with AI? The short answer is no. The long answer is it will not be used on its own, but it will be used to enhance certain jobs. AI is going to be used to enhance what we do, not take jobs away. Using it in post-production is the best place to use it, such as marketing, where it can help narrow down target markets, come up with ideas, and sort through different data. The fourth question we addressed was, what are the costs and benefits? AI is a quick way to get a lot of information. It can help reduce certain costs and make life easier. However, it does take a lot of electricity, time at the beginning to get up and running, and needs to be constantly watched. The last question was, how do you handle various stakeholders? It is all about being transparent, inform everyone, and make sure to communicate that everything is needed. There should always be open feedback. The very first slide and first question. Does it belong at Warner Bros? AI is here and it's not going anywhere. Therefore, we should use it, especially before we fall behind the curve. But the real question should be, where do we use it? And the answer to that question is in post-production. Using it during the script writing phase or the pre-production is against the new agreement between the WGA and the AMPTP. During filming is also not a good area as it could potentially raise ethical issues. Therefore, using it in post-production is the best. To be more specific, it can be used in the marketing department. Think about where there's a lot of information that needs to be sorted to figure out the best people to market towards. This is where AI can come in. Another place or thing to think about is, how should we market to the different groups? AI here can be used to spew out different ideas. Now, the last thing I will leave you with is, everyone knows the age-old saying, evolve or perish, and that is true in every field. It is all about how you evolve. At Warner Bros., AI will be a thing, but the way we go about it will be in a way that makes sure everyone knows their job is safe. Remember the saying I said earlier in this presentation? AI is for aiding, not taking over.